when a Petzl NAO Plus loves a Petzl Eco very, very much, the end result is the NAO RL. The NAO RL brings in the brightness and the battery life of the NAO Plus alongside the futuristic LEDs of the Eco Core. The NAO RL, which stands for Reactive Lighting, more about that later, is designed primarily with trail runners in mind. However, as is often the case, we would say it's suitable for much more than that. If you're a hill walker or a mountain professional, be that mountain rescue or mountain leader, then the performance aspect of the NAO RL might be of interest. That additional brightness, that superior beam, and that good battery life, all of that is appealing to someone who is going to put their head torch through demanding use. Now, the first thing you notice when picking up the NAO RL is the weight. It is really light, especially considering the amount of lumens it can kick out. It is a mere 144 grams. But weight isn't everything. It's actually the balance that makes the NAO RL stand out. And much like its predecessor, the NAO Plus, it features a battery on the back and the lamp on the front. And this gives it a nice, even feel. There's no bounce whatsoever. And that cradle, which feels like it's been inspired by the Eco, fits really neatly on your head. Gives a really good, secure fit, and does so without applying too much pressure. It's comfortable. Now, when it comes to brightness, it's tricky to give exact figures due to the nature of reactive lighting. Reactive lighting has come on a lot. And in fact, we'd say it's more reactive than ever before. If you're looking up and out into the distance, the beam broadens out and that spot really shines. When you're looking down, either at your feet or at your watch or a map, the head torch reacts, decreasing the brightness and really bringing things in. Now, this is handy primarily because it allows you to be really quite lazy. You can keep your head torch on the same setting and it will adapt around the environment around you, giving you more light when you're looking up and less light when you're looking down. Now, this also has the benefit in terms of battery life, because if you just had a single non-reactive setting, your brightness would be the same irrespective of whether you're looking up or down. But those small savings that are made through whilst you're looking down and there's less light mean that it can extend that battery life. And I've had these last full overnight 16 hours whilst I was doing the Spine Challenger South without the need to change the battery a single time. Now, whilst you can turn off the reactive mode, I've only done this the once. And that's been during extreme wet weather, when the beam was reflecting against the amount of water that was falling from the sky, causing it to go dimmer than I wanted it to be. But this was a really extreme circumstance, and that override is there if you need it. But for 99.9% of my usage, I've been reactive lighting all the way. There's 3 settings on the NAO RL. The first is at around 300 lumens. And remember, this level of brightness can change according to where you're looking. That level of brightness is really good for whilst you're going on either flat, maybe uphill terrain, and you don't need as much light. It's a great mode for all around use, and it's a fantastic option if you're wanting to save battery life. The next setting up is at 800 lumens. Now, this is significantly brighter. This is something I've tended to use whilst running down hills where I need a bit more beam. And finally, the third and the brightest setting is at around about the 1500 lumens mark. This is seriously bright, and it's something I've used again whilst running downhill on technical terrain where I need to see everything that is around and all the trip hazards that I might be falling over. I've also used this whilst trying to navigate at night, looking for specific features in the landscape that I maybe couldn't see with those other 2 modes. When it comes to the operation between these 3 modes, Petzl have done something quite clever in that it starts off on the dimmest mode. Now, we really like this because it means that you don't ruin your night vision by going onto the brightest mode first. It allows you to cycle up gradually through those 3 incrementally brighter modes before turning it off and starting from the beginning again. When it comes to the quality of the light, Petzl have done a really good job of integrating a really powerful spot with a good level of flood. This means that you can see things in the distance, but not at the cost of the light around your feet. And on the back, Petzl have included a red light, which can be used in one of several modes: flashing, on, or off. Off's ideal for when you don't want people to follow you in a night nav race. On is great if you do want people to follow you, alternatively find you when something's gone wrong. The R1 battery at the back has been something we've been really impressed with. It has an impressive amount of power considering its size, but part of this comes down to that reactive lighting. The fact that it can adapt to where you're looking, so going brighter as you look into the distance and dimmer as you're looking closer to the foreground, means that you can actually milk a lot of extra light out of it just by strategically thinking about where you're looking. It is definitely worth angling your torch downwards rather than upwards so that it minimizes the amount of usage. The other thing we've liked about the R1 battery is that it only takes 3.5 hours to charge using a USB-C charger. If there were to be any negatives, it might be that the NAO RL only features an IPX4 waterproof rating, so water resistant as opposed to waterproof. But the thing I'd say to this is that I used the NAO RL throughout the Spine Challenger South in 2023, and that was one of the wettest runs I have ever done. And it survived that, as well as all the British winter running that I've done. So I have no complaints whatsoever. Another potential con comes with durability. Now, I don't think this is going to be an issue for runners or hill walkers, but maybe with the NAO RL, because it's so pared down and minimalist compared to the NAO Plus, its predecessor, I don't know how I'd feel about using this for climbing or mountaineering, something where I'm going to be scratching it up against the rock. And finally, if there's something I could change, it would probably be the on and off button at the base. It could do with being just a little bit more prominent, so that when you've got cold hands or gloves on, it's that bit easier to use. But all in all, the NAO RL is a fantastic head torch. We've really rated the reactive lighting, and the fact that it's lighter and brighter with better battery life just means it's better in every way, shape and form that you might wish.